Unlocking Marital Bliss.
I am so honored to be right here on this set. Cyrus Road is my name, and you are watching Unlocking Marital Bliss, and it's about to start rolling. I want to make it so clear to you that you are going to enjoy this. We're recording this from this prestigious Fairway Boutique Hotel. Fairway Boutique Hotel, and everything is moving on so well. You can enjoy them, you can visit them, you can come here, have fun, and enjoy lunch. They have everything, okay? Fairway Boutique Hotel. But tonight, I had something special at Unlocking Marital Bliss. I have one of my usual suspects with me tonight, okay? And over here, like I usually repeat this, that we talk about building blissful marriages, okay? And how you can enjoy marriage, how you can enjoy marriage. In fact, many of you watching out there, you believe that marriage is not good, it's not worth it, I shouldn't do it. And why? Because I see a lot of people falling apart. Simply because you see a lot of people falling apart does not mean everybody's falling apart. Some of us are doing so good and we are winning in marriage. We are not falling apart. I want you to understand. And remember, a good marriage is a choice as much as a bad marriage is a choice. So let nobody ever tell you anything less. It's what you choose. It's all about choices because life is about choices. Okay? But today, let's talk about love. How about that? Let's talk about love. How many of you know what love is? How many of you know what love is? Okay? In fact, if you look at there's a song by Foreigner. Yeah, in our day we call him Foreigner. It has been redone by many people, but this guy really did justice to it. It's called I Want to Know What Love Is. I want to know what love is. You know? So if you're watching and I ask you, what is love? Well, let's talk about love. We're going to break it down so good. And you may be asking, I want to know what love is. We have your answers tonight. Just stay tuned and don't tell anybody that we are not on set. We are here. Those of you watching us in Europe, our greetings. In Europe, we appreciate your feedback, your following, even through YouTube. Please go to our YouTube channel, like us, subscribe, so you may get all these happenings with Unlocking Marital Bliss. Thank you so much. All over Africa, we appreciate you guys. I had to mention you because we're receiving your feedback. Keep it coming, and we're glad you're growing. We're glad you're becoming better persons. And tonight, I have my usual suspect. It's been a while. I'm glad she's back. Winfred Zizinga, you're so much welcome.
Thank you very much, Pastor Cyrus. It is an honor.
It is an
Always an
honor,
honor.
always an honor to
Yes,
have you
always an
here
honor
too.
here.
And I'm so excited about it. And I want to bring this to you. Let's talk about love tonight. It's not going to be anything else. We're going to be talking about love. Okay? Foreigner did it justice and said, gotta take a little time to think things over. Gotta read between the lines, huh? In case I need it when I'm older, huh? In case I need it, uh-huh.
There's been heartache and pain.
Heartache and pain. I don't know. I can face it again. Can't stop now. I've traveled so far.
To change?
This lonely life. Oh, oh, oh. The
I
person
wanna
bringing
know
this.
what love is.
I want you to show me. Hey,
I wanna feel what love is.
let's talk about love.
What is love?
Yes, what is love, Winnie?
What is love? I will talk about love from when we were youthful, from when we were young people.
Yeah.
The young people think love is a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to get that feeling. I know I'm feeling that feeling that I've never felt before.
Mm-hmm.
It must be love.
Okay.
Then as we grow a little older, university, if we get something from someone,
Yeah.
It shows us that they love us.
Hmm. If we get something from someone that is 18, 19, 20.
Yes, and not
Okay.
the ordinary things that I can get myself.
Okay.
And then when we grow older,
Hmm.
it becomes a demand.
Hmm.
It's attached to things. If you don't,
Yeah.
then you don't love me. If you don't give me, then you don't love me.
Okay.
And it is much more substantial. So we come building onto the things that we have gone through over the period of time until we are much older.
Okay.
And the foundation is wrong. For so many of us, the foundation is wrong
Okay.
on what love is.
Hmm.
It's material.
I get you.
I have got to give you for you to think I love you or to know that I love you.
Okay.
When I come with nothing and I tell you I love you, you won't believe it.
Okay.
It it is as opposed to what you're going to define for us from God's perspective, but from the people watching out there, from the people who it's to that place where the young men are saying it's so hard to marry a woman, to love a woman when you have nothing.
When you have nothing.
Yes. And the young girls also know it is, if you have nothing, you're not loving me.
There's no way you can even talk about love.
No, you can't. So the young boys out there, the young men out there, the young boys turning into men
Yeah.
are saying it's so hard to love if you don't have money.
Okay.
So that has been the definition
Of
of
love.
love as we have known it, as we it has been passed down to us,
Yes.
and it's now escalated with the social media.
Hmm.
If there is no bended knee, there is no love. How do you walk? How does Pastor Robbie come to us and just says, "Oh, I got engaged," and then they'll ask her, "Oh, so did he kneel down? Did he get you flowers?"
Okay, I'm getting bored.
So yes, that is what we have known as love.
Okay.
And when we think, if someone says he don't love me, when you ask them, what do you mean? He's never bought me a hanky. He's never bought me this. He's never bought me that. He's never bought me anything.
Yeah.
So the perspective is relatively distorted as to what opposed to
Actually knows and what he calls it.
what he calls love. I know that you cannot love without giving.
Yes. You cannot love without giving,
True. But you can give
without loving.
without loving. Now, in my teenage, that is what we thought. He gives me this, he gives me that, he gives me that.
It
Man,
must
that,
be love.
that guy loves me. He loves me. Can you imagine he bought me a phone? My sister spoke about a Motorola, that one which has a.
Yeah. An aerial.
And back in the day, for someone to give you that phone,
That was heaven come down. That's love.
now today it's a car. We speak in terms of a car, in terms of an air ticket,
Houses.
houses. That defines love for us.
Yeah.
But what really is love?
What really is love?
Than for one to lay down their life.
For friend. You know, Winfred, when you talk about, we're talking about love. And you've described it from all the way teenagers and whatever, kids and all that. And there's something I want to add to what you're bringing forth as we build it up. That the moment we are born as human beings, our body has several stuff, chemicals, acids, whatever. All that stuff is in our bodies. Now, when you look at a child and its mother, it's quick to say, "Oh, I love my child."
Yeah.
You get me?
Yes.
But actually, it's the chemicals released in the brain that bring the attachment. Okay? So it's an attachment, but it's not love. You get attached. That's why you can see even a woman growing up and really gets mad and hates her own daughter.
Yep. You've seen it.
You know, hates your own. How do you hate your own daughter? How do you hate your own child? It's because actually in growing up, you've never loved them. It was chemicals, physically, okay? For example, when you look at animals, animals don't love their babies.
No, they don't.
Animals don't have love, okay? Love is a spiritual force. Love is a spiritual being. You get it? Something bigger than you. And it's not for animals. Animals operate on instinct. You get me? Now, when it comes to human beings, our bodies are made in a way that we also have instinct based on the chemicals released in us. You get me? For example, if you move around and you touch a hot pan, nobody's going to tell you, move your hand, it's hot. No, you're going to move away, you know? That reflects in you. I mean, you don't plan for it. It just happens.
Yeah, it's like something coming towards your eye and you blink.
And you blink immediately, you know? So now, in that manner, that's how our bodies were made. Now, when we get to the point of puberty, okay, something happens.
The hormones are escalated.
Moments escalated, okay? Now, my whole system within me, everything within me begins to change as hormones are produced. Then if I'm a lady, my boobs begin coming out, my hips begin forming, every kind of thing begins happening. If I'm a man, my voice deepens, and all this keeps happening. Now, as it happens, I begin sensing a drawing towards the opposite sex.
That's right.
Now, when I sense this drawing towards the opposite sex, I begin calling it love.
Feeling.
Feeling, I feel it. That's why, you know, in those puberty years, you approach a girl and you tell her what? I got feelings for you.
That's it.
And you will feel like, oh my God, he's got feelings for me. There is nothing like, okay? He has not said love.
No.
He said feelings. Can you listen properly? He said feelings, and then you call it love. And he actually meant love.
That's why you can abandon those feelings anytime.
They go anytime, and then the next thing you say, but you loved me. You were there. You loved me. It wasn't love. He has never loved you. It was never love. It was feelings. It's just like an animal, instinct. You know, instinct. However, when it comes to love, it's not natural.
No. Supernatural.
It's supernatural. So you need to get it from somewhere, from someone,
in order to give it.
in order to give it. Naturally, no human being is born with love. We are born with these hormones, with these instincts, with all this stuff.
And no human being can love naturally.
No human being can love naturally. Everything that you see everywhere, people getting married, they're falling apart because there is no love. It's instinct, okay? You're behaving like a lion. You're behaving like any other animal. If you don't feel it now, you're going to walk away. If you don't feel it, you're going to walk away. You get the picture. And the moment you begin to walk away,
Things fall apart.
things fall apart. And you say, but we were together. Well, it was not love in the first place. Those were just hormones. And that's why when you keep going, you even call it chemistry. There are chemicals happening in you. It's not yet love. It's chemicals. For love to be love, it's got to come and take over. Okay? You got to come and reach out. Where do you find love? It's not in supermarkets.
No. It's not
No.
in a person.
It's not in a person. But the problem is we try to run to the person to give us love. Love is not in a person. We get frustrated because they can't give it. Love is God. And if you love is God, And if you're going to talk about love, if you are going to give love, you need to first meet love, who is God. And then when you have faith in love, who is God, then you receive love. And now that you receive love, then you can be able to give love. And there's one thing about love, it's unconditional.
That is it.
That's the real love.
How much you give me,
No.
it's not how much, how outside you take me,
Uh-huh.
or which expensive restaurant you take me.
Yeah.
It isn't that.
No. It is about what seeking what is good for you
There is divinity
in it.
in love.
The entire thing about love is the divinity. It's not natural.
No, it isn't.
So when you see even believers or people going to church and they say, we failed, I hate you, I don't do work. Well, the person saying such words doesn't even know God. Because can you imagine, the Bible says nobody can love or can say, if you say you know God, you love God, but hate your own brother.
How? How?
How can you love the God you've never seen and hate your own brother? So that means when love comes in, the first evidence it is coming, it's how I spend myself for you. But we have a problem now, Winnie.
I know where you're going, Pastor Cyrus.
How I spend myself for you. What we call love today, many of the people watching, it's about how I can gather from you, how I can get from you, what I can take from you, and then everything is about me, myself, and I. Three people, me, myself, and I.
You know, it is funny. That is my expectation. And then you, the giver,
Yeah.
also expect me to honor it.
And how you gonna honor it?
And it is not happening. I'm thinking, what can I get from you? What are you giving me? And you're actually giving it. And then I take it. And then you are not giving it from a space of love. I am not receiving it from a space of love. So none of us is operating in love.
Thank you.
That is why you will give it and feel cheated when I don't reciprocate.
I feel cheated when you don't reciprocate. And that is very true.
Today, our young men are crying. I've given everything. I've taken her to the most expensive restaurants. I've bought this. I've bought that. I've sacrificed my entire life.
But it's not love.
For what? And today, on a group that we are both on, someone said, men work so hard, and he worked so hard for all his children, and the children left with their mom, and they're living abroad.
And he stayed alone.
And he stayed alone after sacrificing everything. The man loved. The man, he loved you. If he didn't love you, he wouldn't be paying your fees. I remember what you say, you can give without loving.
Yes, but you can never love without giving. You see, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to put the cart before the horse. And this is where you've brought it out so good. We come out and we begin reaching out to people. I begin giving to you. And this is where the men have missed it. Okay? You see, all of us have a certain syndrome. We are born with it. And we don't even know it's there. Okay? All of us are born. Now, I'm going to say this and it's going to rattle a lot of feathers. We're born with this syndrome that is, it's a fear of rejection. It's a sickness.
Yeah.
It's a mental problem. Now, some people are like, no, I'm okay. No, you're not okay. Listen, it's a mental problem, okay? All of us are born with this mental problem. Fear of rejection, okay? Now, in fear of rejection, What do I do? How do I fight it? I don't know how to fight it. So, but I'm going to try. So, how am I going to try? I'm going to do things that will ensure you don't reject me. Remember, I'm suffering from a mental problem called the fear of rejection. Now I'm going to do everything so that you do not reject me. You get that? So, what am I going to do? I see Winnie, a beautiful girl, and then the instincts in my body do whatever they want to do. And then I am drawn to you, but then I'm like, she might say no. Remember, I have this mental problem. She might say no. So, what do? In order to avoid being rejected, I come with giving you stuff or doing stuff that you will like so that when you like it, then you can't reject me.
And I
That's
will
how I look
keep
at it.
you in that position till kingdom come.
Exactly. And even before even kingdom come, there's something that happens. I grow weary because I'm giving too much, but I'm not getting the same back. The reciprocity is not there. And I've had some people, you see, the more you give and there's no reciprocation, you grow weary. Yes, you grow weary because you're not giving in love.
It was in your own strength.
It was in your own
There
strength.
is no divinity
There
there.
wasn't love. You were trying to buy your way into somebody's life.
And who told you you can?
Somehow I'm trying to fight rejection. Come on. I'm trying to fight the fear of rejection. So I don't know how. So all I do is position myself in a way that will appease you so you don't reject me. You get it? And that is where this thing called, and then when we're in that, you hear people saying, well, like you mentioned, well, a man can give everything, but when he grows old, nobody recognizes him. And then men complain, you have turned all the children against me. You woman, you're evil, you're wicked. How could you turn all the children against me? The reality is she never turned all the children against you, but you never knew what love is. Winfred, listen to this. We as men need to discover what love is, because paying tuition fees, I can even send you to the US to study, it doesn't mean I love you.
Sure,
Okay?
any fool could do it.
Anybody can do it. Any fool can do that. Anybody. UN can pay your tuition, but UN don't love you. The government can pay your tuition, but the government will never love you. Never. Love is so different. You get me? So now most men get to a point where they say, I've given in everything, but now they've rejected me. The reality is you never built a relationship with them. You never loved them when it was needed. Now you are reaping what you sowed. You were busy playing around with your buddies in clubs and drinking joints, and you were just running after girls. And this woman was spending time building relationship with the children. She was loving on them, and you were not. Simply giving money doesn't mean you love your kids. It doesn't mean you love them. And I want the men to understand this.
And it's a choice.
It's a choice you make. You don't, I mean, you've not loved them. You've been running all your life for 20, 30 years. Now you're beginning to harvest what you've been sowing, and you're complaining. Oh, the woman has turned the kids against me. No, she never turned nobody against you. It has been your problem. You don't know what love is, and you've just been so self-centered, so selfish, and the mental problem of fear of rejection. You thought if I give them money, they'll never dump me. If I pay their school fees, they'll never dump me. They will dump you.
The fruit of those seeds are bitter.
They're so bitter.
They're so bitter.
They're so bitter. Let me tell you guys, we're talking about love. We're talking about love. And we gotta know, you do not go around using money thinking it's love. I'll come back in a minute.
Unlocking Marital Bliss. Unlocking Marital Bliss.
We'll be back. You're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss with Miss Cyrus Road, and I have my usual suspect, Winfred Zizinga, right here from the prestigious Fairway Boutique Hotel. And I'm glad to be here and sharing with you about nothing but love. Before we took a break, I said, let's talk about love. Let's talk about love. And I made it so clear. It's not about what you have given. You're usually giving as a way of manipulating others so they may not reject you. You're usually giving so you may feel good about yourself.
But even the person you are giving feels just the same way as you do,
The person you're giving is feeling just as empty as you are
as
feeling.
mentally disturbed
Mentally disturbed
as you are,
you are.
the giver.
Now, you know, Winfred, thank you for bringing that mentally disturbed, because everybody's suffering from it. If you cannot love unconditionally, you are mentally disturbed. Winnie, I'm going to say this again, and a lot of people are going to lose it. But you see, that's what truth is. You don't determine truth, you simply accept it, okay? So if you do not love unconditionally, you're mentally disturbed. You are self-centered. We are born selfish, not born in love. No, we are born selfish. We are born when all we think about is me, myself,
It's at the heart
and I.
and at the core of who we are. I mean, you
Of who
see
we
it.
are.
You take a child to nursery school or let them get a sibling,
Yeah.
give them something and tell them, give me some. That kid will, it's a very big thing. And he will pinch the tiniest bit and give it to you,
One that doesn't cost him.
the one that doesn't cost him anything.
Yes. That doesn't
Sometimes he
cost him.
doesn't even see it. He wonders if it fell, he would actually look for it and pick it up and hand it over to you.
Oh my God.
That's how selfish we are born.
We are born in that manner. Now that's how you're growing. Don't think that anything changes because of age. No, the selfishness is still there.
Absolutely.
Now we don't know how to reach out to people because we're so scared of rejecting us. This mental disturbance, being mentally disturbed, is what brings us to a point where I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to reach out to people. Maybe I've been hurt. So
There are names for those things, Pastor Cyrus.
what names?
There are introverts. There are certain disorder names, disorder this,
No.
disorder this, Winnie disorder, Cyrus disorder. There are names for these disorders. Everything has been given a name in this day and age. And at the heart of it
It's selfish.
is selfishness.
Winfred, thank you for saying it. Everything has been given a name. And at the heart of it is selfishness.
We don't want to hear it. We don't want to say it. We're afraid to say it. But that is the thing.
That is the truth.
Self is at the heart of so many
All
things
these behaviors.
we do.
Self is at the heart of
I
it.
preserve self. I am preserving self.
Yes.
If a young man goes out and boldly speaks to a young woman,
Yeah.
and then someone tells him that girl is from a very rich family,
Yeah.
he'll walk away. He's
And give
preserving
up?
self. Yeah,
I won't manage.
I won't manage.
Because you see, at the end of the day, I love this. Somebody shared something on a group that I'm on and said, men are not poverty eradicating projects for lazy women. And I told them, you see, this is the problem. Now, this was a woman who was speaking. And I said, here is the challenge. Oh, the men were like, yeah. And I said, okay, here is the challenge, guys. We need to grow up. The woman you call lazy is the woman you have created.
That's right.
When she works, you're scared. When she doesn't work, she's lazy.
That's true.
And then I said, there's a song in our day that was no romance without finance. If you want to be with me, you got to bring something, you know?
That is it. Yeah.
And I said, we have made these women that we claim are being lazy and are demanding and are asking for this and that. Why? Because we don't have love. So when I meet this woman, I start by being some philanthropist of sorts, as some, I'm here to finance your life, whatever.
What
I'm
happens
here.
when something happens to you and you can't?
Then the love has gone.
Then we're
And
getting
then I blame you.
it's back to self.
I blame you. You see, when I had money, she loved me. When money went, she no longer loves me. Well, you never loved her when you had money. You were only trying to buy your way into her, but you never loved her.
You were preserving self.
You were preserving self. You couldn't, in fear of rejection, you kept on spending.
And even right now that it is not there, you're preserving self with your pity party.
Yeah, thank you.
No one
You
loves
no
me.
wonder.
How I looked after you when I had the money. Now you don't love me. You don't care. But you're all the person you
I'm
were
playing
pouring
victim.
into. You're playing victim. But even the person you were pouring into was as empty as yourself.
The person never knew love. I told her that love is about what I give you. And now when I stop giving, then I play victim. You don't love me. But hey, I mean, you made it clear that if it's going to be love, it's going to be what I'm giving you.
Greater love
No.
has no man.
Greater love has no man than to lay down his life. Okay, the only way I can do that, I don't start. You see, I start by vulnerability. That is what is called giving. You see, I tell people a man can give you, I tell women, a man can give you presents and never give you his presence.
That's it.
It's so easy to give you all that. So don't be mistaken when he's giving and then you interpret it as love. The only way, if you want to know where love is, let's go to vulnerability. The first thing, can he give himself to you?
Has he given himself to God?
And I can't give myself to you until I've given myself to God.
And the Christian will say, oh, I've given myself to God. But Pastor
What's the
Cyrus,
evidence?
what is the evidence?
I go to church.
No.
That's what
I
they
mean,
say.
I've been saved long enough to know that Christians are wicked.
Thank you. Say that again, girl.
I have been saved long enough to know that Christians are wicked.
Yes, ma'am.
Christians are wicked.
Yes.
If you have never, in your wildest imagination, in your quiet moments, accepted or envisioned the magnitude of the love of God for you,
Yeah.
you haven't started loving.
Thank you. I haven't started because I cannot. It's not natural. What I have in me is instinct. These divorces we are saying, it's because love has never been. Love has not been established. When love is established, love never fails.
Because when he laid down his life, Peter denied him 3 times.
And he still came back to him. And it's it's Jesus that looked for Peter.
Exactly. It wasn't the other way around.
It wasn't the other way
So
around.
how
That's what
many?
love is.
That is what love is, and many of us don't understand it. And today's Christianity is sugar coated. It's justified. Even Jesus understands.
Oh my God! No.
Even Jesus understands. If I can help myself to some money, even Jesus understands. If I can go and have sex outside of marriage, Jesus understands it was a moment.
No.
Okay, it happened. Can you embrace forgiveness and move on in the love of Christ? But for me, it is sitting down, Pastor Cyrus, in the moment and evaluating how much has he loved me.
Yeah.
And you ask him, when you sing that song, I want to know what love is, you sing it to God.
You can.
You
You
can.
gotta sing it to God. Instead of singing it to a human being, give it to God.
A human being
And tell him, I want to know what.
incapacitated, right?
He doesn't know what to show you.
He knows
In
that.
fact, you gotta sing it to God that when you come, you're just saying, let me show you what love is.
That is it.
because I've received it. I've got it. Now I can show it to you.
That's it. Now, when you have embraced the love of Jesus,
Yes.
it is so easy to give even the smallest thing you have. It's so easy to break it into half. It's easy to break it into 3/4 and give the other 3/4.
It's even easy to give everything away. That is how deep love is. Because I'm seeking what is best for you at my expense. But you see, what we have today, there's something. When we mention the unconditional love, when we talk about love, there's something that is very pertinent that many times we ignore. There's something that is being promoted today, and it's called self love. You find it in churches, and everybody's saying, you need self love, you need self love. You don't even understand what self love is. Because, look, the Word of God says, and these commands I give unto you: love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, the first question is, how do I love God? Is it everything that I do for him and whatever, whatever? Well, that sounds very good. The best way to love God is to first discover how much he has loved me. That is loving God. How much has he loved me? That is what will move me, you get me, to actually appreciate that I have value. And then the way I feel about myself and the value I have is what I'm going to bring to love you. Because loving you, when we talk about self-love, people are thinking about going to the Bahamas.
Yeah. Going to a bar, spoil yourself. You can drink yourself nuts if you wanted to. You can do every wicked thing in the book that is as long as you want to do it.
So self-love is described as do whatever pleases you. That is not self-love. That is wickedness. That is mental disturbance. That is selfishness. And no, no, no. Look, Winnie, you love self and you go and you drink yourself silly and you call that loving yourself? You love yourself and go be so selfish, in other words.
Because many a times people doing that hit rock bottom. And why is that? If you're self-loving,
Why do you hit rock bottom? Because you're supposed to actually keep soaring. In fact, self-love is evidenced by the confidence I have when I'm loving you, in the way I treat others. Not, you called it what? Introvert? No. Being an introvert is self-centeredness to God. You see, when I met my wife, everybody said, oh, she's an introvert. I told her, you're so proud. Her eyeballs almost popped out. What? I said, you're so proud. They said, no, I'm an introvert. I said, no, you're not. You're just full of pride. It's all about selfishness. And you feel I can't reach out because you don't want to spend yourself for another. You want your comfort, your peace. This is the way I love it. I don't want anybody disturbing me. This is my world. It's all selfishness. And today she's a preacher. Today she's reaching out to everybody, loving herself so good that people see love. That is the bottom line.
I want to backtrack a bit on what you said. If you have received the love of the Father,
Yes.
you know who you are.
Thank you.
You begin to know I am forgiven. I am accepted. I am redeemed.
The fear of rejection disappears.
The fear of rejection.
The mental problem dies.
I mean, when I walk to a place and ask for something, the worst they can say is no. And I will walk up with my head up high.
Thank you.
Because I know in whom I have believed.
I know who I am. Who is a man to reject me? You can reject me all you want. I am still Cyrus Rod.
There's this song that give me Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like everything else in this world can. It's okay, it can go.
Yeah.
But give me
Give me Jesus.
Give me Jesus.
That's your identity.
That is my identity.
That's
and
who you are.
that is he who causes me to love. That is he who causes me to get up from a fall
Yeah.
and say, I am loved and I'm not going to go back in this sin again.
Thank you, because sin was destroying me.
It was. And right now,
I have value. I know who I am. Why should I mess myself?
you know, I have been around young people a lot of times, and the 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, they come and say, Auntie Winnie, he has said that I am looking like that leaf. So you ask them, are you a leaf?
Uh-huh.
Says no.
No,
And he stops crying. All of a sudden,
I'm not a leaf.
I'm not a leaf.
Confidence comes back.
Exactly. And that is who Christ is to us.
Yes.
You can call me dumb if you wanted to.
Yes.
I know I'm not dumb.
That's true.
Because of who I know Christ is to me. The revelation of his love.
Yes.
It takes me over. That
am loved.
Pastor Cyrus, even if you call me dumb and call me 2 years later, I'll still help you.
That's it. Because you see, when you're manifesting God's nature, his identity, people abuse him and call him everything, yet in trouble they will call upon him and he will answer.
I told you about a young lady who did something to me and called me after 15
Yes.
years. 15.
And needed your help.
And needed my help. 15. And when people hear this, they say, Winnie, you're so crazy. After you do that to me, I wouldn't even pick your phone call. The moment I hear it's your voice,
That's mental illness.
I will hang up.
That's mental illness, bitterness.
But Pastor Cyrus, what can she do to me?
Nothing.
Nothing.
She did what she did because she doesn't know what love is. So she did what mentally disturbed people do. She hurts people.
And when she came back and asked for my forgiveness, I told her I did forgive you actually back then.
Back then.
And she said, I want you to tell me now that you forgive me now. I said, I forgive you. And she said, I was so surprised. Everyone I did the same thing to has refused to speak to me. You are the only one who has spoken to me.
Mentally disturbed. Winfred, selfishness is a total mental illness. God never created us. Look at this. In fact, scripture is so clear. He says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and of a sound mind. In other words, if there is no love in me, there's no sound mind in me. It's mental illness.
And there is no power.
And there is no power.
Do you know
in
how
me.
much power love has?
Oh man, I've walked in it. I'm in love saved a man like me. I was a wretch. Love picked me up. Nobody would have loved me if it wasn't for God.
Do you know how much power that translated to your wife from what you said? It was after the revelation.
Yeah.
Had you gone as a wretch, believe you me, there would be 2 of you today.
Not one.
Not one, Pastor Cyrus. That's the truth. But when you know I have been loved, you're
Then I
able
can
to
love.
tell her, that's pride.
That's not you. That's being selfish.
Exactly. And then to what do they call it? What do the Smiths do? They refine.
Uh-huh.
Today you have a ruby.
Yes, out of that girl. That's what love does.
That is what love does.
It pays the price. It will cost you.
down its
This is not
life.
Jennifer Lopez. My
No.
love don't cost a thing.
No.
That is animal instinct. Animal instinct don't cost a thing.
What did you have then? Remind me again, Pastor Cyrus. What did you have then?
I only had Jesus. I only had Jesus and the love. So young men who say, I don't have money, I can't love. No, no, no.
Married that girl and took her where in a room? How many feet by how many feet?
Her, I think it was 10 by 10. 10 by 10. And the other one, no.
So what is love?
Love is God. And what is God? The one who loves me. And what is loving someone? What does it mean to love? It means to spend yourself for the good of the other.
It's because you received that revelation of him who spent himself
For my good.
for your good.
Now I can spend myself for the good of my spouse. I spend myself. Now, when I find it hard to spend myself, it's because I'm mentally disturbed.
Now someone
I
out
am
there is
self-centered.
is asking you for how long and expecting nothing in return.
You see, the reason you keep asking, expecting nothing in return, is the mental illness I've been talking about. You don't have a sound mind. A sound mind is not looking at something in return. It's not an investment. You've had a lot of people talk about investment and return on investment. You're into this mathematics and into this auditing all the time, return on investment. You see, but you see, when you get to God, when you get to love, you don't consider return on investment.
But you know that it comes.
It will just flow. It will just flow. I remember I told my wife, even before we married, I said, girl, I've loved you, because we spent 3 years before we married. I said, I've loved you. And if you ever have a second thought and thinking, I'm not the one, I will respect that. But remember,
And that is love.
that is love, the freedom to let you go.
Yeah.
I will respect that. And she said, there's no way I can change my mind. We're going all the way. I'm staying with you. That's what Jesus told the disciples. They others say, we're leaving you. And they say, hey, what about you?
But Pastor Cyrus, people complain about, I like God in all his wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
The return on investment, it will come to you.
I'm telling you what this woman has become to me.
Ways. And someone out there is asking, oh, I've loved, and I'm not getting anything in return. Do you know who is giving you the energy to love?
That's it.
That's a return on your investment.
Amen.
That's a return on your investment.
And you see, when you talk about the one who gives you the energy to love, God himself doing everything. So you see, when you begin looking to, but I'm getting back nothing, you've once again gone back to the mental illness.
That's it.
Because in love, it's not about I'm getting back nothing. No. You see, the Bible says in Hebrews that men gave themselves and spent everything, even unto death. They never received the promise. Even unto death, but they stayed in love.
I think that we are living better spiritual times than they did.
And yet we are failing to walk a fraction of what they walked.
That is it.
Oh,
But
man, no, not my generation. We got to rise up.
when we say, what is love? Love is of the Father. Love is from the Father.
Mm-hmm.
And it can only be found in the Father.
In the Father.
In him I live.
I move. And have my being.
And have my being.
So if love is not flowing out of me, I am not in the Father. It doesn't matter what I'm saying, what I'm speaking out and justifying and explaining.
If you ever notice when you're going to do something that is contrary to what you know to be truth,
Yes.
the Father will stand before you and look at you with eyes of love.
Eyes of love. I don't hate you.
I don't.
Why do you hate yourself?
Why are you thinking wicked toward winning?
Yeah.
And because he stands before you, your heart is not hardened.
Yeah.
It is so easy to let Winnie go. It is so easy to forgive Winnie.
Because my whole life is not in what Winnie has done or not done, but in God.
We've had stories of a man in the US where a young man kills a fellow young man.
Yeah.
And this is the only son of somebody, an innocent bystander.
Yeah.
This was their only son. I've heard this story, true story.
Yes.
And this man, God is telling him, go and love on that prisoner. The one who killed your only son. And the only child at that.
Yes.
And this man goes out all the way, or this woman goes out to visit this young man.
Yes.
Brings change into this young man.
Yes.
Some have moved to even petition for them to get out of prison, adopted them, and they've become good citizens of the nation.
That is what love. It wasn't about what he was getting. It was about what he was bringing, what he was giving.
But do you think that this woman did it in her own strength?
No. That you naturally you can't. I told you instincts. Instincts. This is what love is in situations like that. Okay? When you hurt me, you gotta pay.
Yep.
But the beauty is that love pays when it's hard.
No.
When love is hard, it even pays for the guilty. It even pays for the guilty. And this is where we have a problem. God got hurt, and yet when we were in problems, he paid the price to bring the guilty back to himself. Okay.
So me going back to Jesus is a return on his investment.
Is a return on his investment. He brought me back. He loved me so much. And then I was able to come back home. And that is it. And for those who don't come back home,
It's a choice.
it's a choice. It's up to them.
It is up to you.
But God has already loved you. In one word, I want you to speak out to those that are watching and feel like, love, man, I am giving up. I've loved this woman, but she don't understand what love is.
The one thing I would tell any man or woman out there, go back to God. Sit down and sing that song to him. I want to know what your love is.
Wow.
Show me. I want you to show me. He will show you.
Yes.
And your life can move right before you in his light. When you
Yes.
move from that place, you'll be able to love anyone else. You'll be able to forgive. His love will flow right through you to touch other people.
Wow. And that's so amazing. You've had it from Winnie with those words. His love will flow right through you to touch other people. He says in Romans 5:8, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for the ungodly. That is what love, it goes for those that don't deserve. And so, really, you as a human, you can't, but I'll repeat like Winnie said, go sing it to God. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me, because no human being is there yet. Only God can do that. I want to feel what love is. Let's talk about love. Thank you for watching. Remember, marriage is easy. Ignorance is hard. Never forget that. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you. And I am very loved.
Amen.
Unlocking marital bliss.